Hello, everybody. Welcome into a Monday edition of the Computer America Show. Hope all of you had a wonderful weekend. We are going to be starting in the first hour. We're going to be doing computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities. Boglo had some technical issues, and we'll reschedule them for another time. And then in the second hour, we're going to have uBreakiFix, which is a very interesting. We have the company's co-founder, CEO, on the program to talk about this chain of stores located currently in South Florida. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show as we begin 2 hours of Computer America coming right at you.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello, and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And hopefully all of you had a wonderful weekend. I know we did. Really had a good weekend. And we're ready to face the new week head on. And, of course, we're opening the week with our first hour guest, technical issues. They can't make it. They had a problem. And so we're going to reschedule Boglo on another program sometime either later this month or probably next month sometime. But we are going to be doing computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities. In the second hour, we're going to be talking to the co-founder and president of uBreakiFix. And I like that. Is the name of a chain of stores located, I believe, in the South Florida area, expanding. But basically, the name says it all. You have some sort of electronic device, I guess any electronic device, really, and they'll fix it for you if you break it, okay?
And breaking an electronic device is traumatic and can happen to the best of us and should not be rubbed in or taunted at for any longer than absolutely necessary.
I see. So if you leave your, let's say, your smartphone out in the rain,
hypothetically
don't say anything bad because they already feel bad enough. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Right. It's the point was driven home by the loss of the device. No longer needed to be pointed out for the stupid action that it was.
Okay. All right. So there it is. So don't make the person feel any bad. You know, whether their device got run over by a truck or left out in the rain, whatever it is, don't make them feel any worse than they already feel. So that's good words of advice.
Pretty much.
But if you have that, we're going to be talking to, as I said, the co-founder and president of uBreakiFix, and I think it's a very interesting concept where you don't have to necessarily go to the manufacturer of whomever or whatever it was that you broke. In many cases, that's just impossible. You know, they're in China somewhere. They have the technology to fix a lot of this stuff, and we're going to talk about what it is that they like to fix, and we're going to be talking to them a little bit later on in the program. Let's see what else. Now, let me just get the phone numbers. If you have a comment or question, we'd love to hear from you. 347-884-8881. I'll get you on to get you through that. 347-884-8881. The number to call if you have a comment or a question for our guest. So that's the first thing. Now, if you're radio shy, you don't like to go on the air, we have the technology to still get your question or comment. And the way that works is you go to ComputerAmerica.com. And that's all you have to do. And on any of our pages, you'll see that at the top right-hand corner of any page, you'll see submit a question. It's just that simple. And you just click that, and it'll take you to our question submission page. and then you can submit your question, and then we can ask or answer it that way. So just other ways you can interact with us. And the other really cool thing to do is watch our show. That's right. Not only we're a radio talk show, but you can also watch Computer America. We have the live video stream available to you, again, at computeramerica.com. That's the internet home of our radio talk show. Go there and click the show lounge. It's on any of the pull down menus on every page. It's just right next to the home selection. It's the second one from the left. It says show lounge. Click that. You'll go to our video streaming page. It'll automatically start. You don't have to do anything, and you'll immediately be able to watch the show. You'll see me. You'll see Ben. Sometimes you can see our guest. Ben has the wonderful technology to display websites, movies, videos in the background, so you can watch and see everything that we're talking about. So it's just a lot of fun. Also, we start this video stream about 2 minutes before the show, and you can.
We promise that part of the show, the pre-show and the post-show, we're gonna do something like that. We haven't done anything like that because right now it's just, hi, how's everyone doing? And then the show starts, and at the very end it's, hi, thanks for all joining us, goodbye. And like, we aren't really doing anything, but we are planning some things that are very much in the early stages of adding some content to the beginning of the show and content to the end of the show that is exclusive to the video feed.
Yeah. And that will be happening soon. So obviously you can join that and kind of see everything that we're doing. So that's just another way you can kind of interact with us here at computeramerica.com. And we invite you to do just that. So again, 347-884-8881, watch the live video stream. Before we get into the computer news, I just wanted to mention that over the weekend, and this is when I normally do this stuff, I decided to upgrade to Windows 10. So now, yours truly now is running Windows 10. That it is.
I'm so thankful that that Microsoft had provided an upgrade path through Mac OS into Windows. That's very nice of them.
Actually, it wasn't Mac OS that provided the upgrade path. It was Parallels that did that.
I know.
Yeah, I'm using Parallels to run Windows on the Macintosh, and they provide a method, a technique, where you can actually upgrade your computer right then and there, and they do all the legwork for you too. I downloaded Windows 10 in about, it seemed like less than an hour, and then after I did that, it went through its installation, which took the whole thing took about 2.5 hours, and it was done. And when I got back, it was there. It worked flawlessly, seamlessly. They really did a nice job. And I mean, I didn't have to reboot anything. I mean, the computer reboots itself a couple of times. That's part of the process. But when all was said and done, I had Windows 10 up and running, with painless, really. All my files were preserved. It was just a very nice experience. So
we haven't really heard too many, if any, trouble stories involving upgrading to Windows 10. You know, I would think that my experience would be, you know, the worst of all of them that we've heard. So, and mine wasn't even that bad. You know, it definitely wasn't a deterrent, and it just took me a couple more, you know, minutes and maybe an hour to do. So, hey, you know, it's pretty safe to upgrade. If you're waiting, if you're hesitant for some reason, if you're waiting for that news report to say, don't upgrade to Windows 10, it's going to blow up your machine. No, that doesn't appear to be coming anytime soon.
Yeah, I would concur. I would say that everything, I mean, if I've got Windows 10 up and running on my Mac with no problems, you know, it's fine. I would say, and not only that, I noticed that it appears to run more quickly. I had Windows 7 Ultimate is what I had online. Windows 10 seems to be a lot faster. It just seems to be operating really nicely, and it ran everything that I threw at it. All my applications, everything that I had. They're not that many, but the ones that I did, they all worked perfectly without a hitch. So I think at this point it's safe to say if you haven't upgraded Windows to Windows 10 and you have Windows 10 and it says that your system is capable of running it because it does that little diagnosis before it starts, I would say go for it. Make sure you back up everything, obviously, before you start.
Yeah, obviously. Although we did find out actually here in our house the story that we reported on, I believe, Thursday, where many of you may be experiencing this as well. If you have a Windows 7 or later operating system and you haven't upgraded and you have no intention to upgrade to Windows 10, you may want to go online and find some tutorials on how to actually delete and stop the downloading of Windows 10 onto your computer in the background, because Windows got into a little bit of trouble with that last week, and even someone here in our house found that very, very disturbing because they never hit a button, they never signed up, they never registered, they never queued up, they never did anything, but they found that Windows 10 had been downloaded without their permission onto their computer. So that is happening all over the world, and that doesn't seem to be sitting well with a lot of people.
Yeah, well, again, it makes a lot of sense if you don't want to do it, but resistance is futile because eventually everybody's going to be running Windows 10. It might take a year or two, but everybody's going to be up, and then once everybody is running the same operating system, I think it's going to be a better world, a better Windows world, from everything that I've seen. Okay. Well, it's time, I think, to do some computer news. Unless anything else you want to mention before we get started.
Yeah, Stitcher.
Oh, yeah.
Go check us out on Stitcher. If you have an Android device or even an iPhone, any kind of mobile device, or you are already a member of Stitcher, and because it's a great place to find different podcasts, and one of them including Computer America, but there are many out there on many different topics. So hey, go check them out regardless. But go check us out on Stitcher and download us, and subscribe to us and get everything there downloaded instantly. Stream it to any phone, any mobile device. It's really probably one of our best ways to do just that. The other one is SoundCloud. Yes, we're going to be updating that soon, and yeah, it's a great place to find the archives. SoundCloud is really just another place for you to distribute and share Computer America. And it's another place for us to kind of archive and have past shows. We can't stream it to SoundCloud Live, but at the same time, you'll be able to find it there and share it with your friends easily. So, and of course, plenty of other networks and plenty of our live streams are still up and running. So,
we're on the IRN radio network.
All them, exactly. So,
network, exactly. All right, well, let's start doing some computer and technology news. Again, brought to you by Slimware Utilities. We'll get started with that momentarily, and let's do it now. All right. Today's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities. They are the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system. slimwareutilities.com. Be sure to check them out.
Exactly. So, with this wonderful Monday getting kicked off with, computer technology news, let's start off with this story. This one is no, not that one. Okay, NVIDIA, they just can't seem to catch a break with their Shield product. And this is from TechHive.com, and NVIDIA recalls some Shield Pro Android TV consoles over hard drive failures. Luckily, this one is a relatively small number, but it's still a problem to take note of because, hey, it's been a troubled past for any NVIDIA Shield product. It's sad to see because, hey, we kind of want those guys to succeed. We like more consoles. So it's a hard drive issue that can get worse over time. So again, this is from, let's throw this up on our video for anyone who likes to watch. And yeah, this is from TechHive, Mr. One second. Oh, there we go. Mr. Brad Chacos here. And yeah, so NVIDIA sure is having a rough summer as it attempts to branch out beyond its awesome graphics cards. In late July, the company recalled, if you remember this, 88,000 NVIDIA Shield tablets due to the heat risk and potentially catching on fire. Again, none of them did catch fire and burn anything down, but it was a risk, and they had to recall most of their NVIDIA Shield tablets.
Mhm.
So now are forcing NVIDIA to replace the consoles. Though fortunately, the issue with the Shield Pro isn't nearly as far-reaching as the tablet's hot battery. So only about 1% of Shield Pro units are affected. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
The defective consoles suffer from a hard drive issue that can worsen over time. And the issue manifests itself in two ways. So if you think this maybe happened to you, listen up. Here's how you tell. If you see a fast boot menu appear after installing the NVIDIA the Shield TV Upgrade 1.4,
Mm-hmm.
you'll want to replace your console, even if it starts again after a reboot. The affected consoles can also display, quote, severe and persistent pixelation in all tiles of the top row of the Android TV home screen. Text and tiles will be unreadable and does not become clear after a few seconds. So some very, very high levels of distortion in certain areas of the television. So the article goes on to say, if that sounds familiar, then you'll want to touch with NVIDIA's customer care, and they'll ship out a new Shield Pro as soon as the RMA is confirmed, even before you ship the busted unit back. So yeah, if anything, sorry to hear about NVIDIA and all their hardware woes. It's very, very unfortunate for them. But I will say their customer care and just their customer support throughout all these different things has been phenomenal. Like they haven't left anyone high and dry. You send them an email, you give them the relevant information, and they will take care of you. Like they aren't just dropping their products after you buy them. So that's nice to see, but it would be nicer to see these products shipped out to customers with zero hiccups. But hey, well, less than 1% of TVs, so that's a relatively small. But please take note if you have one. Take note.
All right. So anyway, this next story is from Maximum PCs, Paul Lilly. Google is looking at 3 additional cities for high-speed fiber networks. 3 of them. Okay. They're really beginning to spread around. Okay. I mean, right now they have Austin, Texas, Kansas City, Provo, Utah, but they're looking to expand. And this was actually announced this past Thursday. They've identified 3 new potential markets for its 1 gigabit per second Google Fiber service. And 2 of them are in California, Irvine and San Diego, with a 3rd possible location pegged as Louisville, Kentucky. Now, who's coming up with these cities? I mean, what criteria are they using to select these?
Google is a rather magnanimous company, if those words can be used together,
Mm-hmm.
and they tend to go into areas that are underserved they're underserved in their internet speeds in the internet market, but they have room for growth. Like they have customers who want speed, and they don't have like really any other competition, because we've seen that with these larger cities. They like the gigabit, whenever the gigabit service comes to those cities,
Mm-hmm.
it outclasses every other connection by a mile, by a country mile. Like it's just way, way better than anything else in those cities. And I think Google's doing that on purpose, that they don't want to enter a market where it's just saturated, there's plenty of choices, there's plenty of speed. No, they want to go to markets that are underserved, have underperforming internet service, and they go in and just clean house. They get enrollment rates of 70% of the entire town's population. That's what they're doing, and they're probably choosing these cities. First of all, there's probably some tax incentives, so that they're probably being courted by these cities to begin with.
Mhm.
And then there's some, and then there has to be room for growth and room for profit because, hey, they're still a company.
Yeah, but and they are all on a different. Each city is on its own unique timeline. They're not doing this all together, according to the story. Anyway, just to recap, if you're not familiar with it, wherever they have Google Fiber installed, it's 1 gigabit upstream and downstream, both ways. Okay, and it runs at an average of $70 a month, with a $300 construction fee that they waive with a 1-year commitment. So basically, you're getting a gigabit up and down for $70 a month. Now, you can also subscribe to that service and a TV package that runs $130 a month and includes over 150 channels. But again, having a gigabit down is amazing, but have a gigabit up as well. It's symmetrical. They're just absolutely amazing for $70 a month.
Yeah, they really do offer a very, very good service whenever it gets you, because as good of a service as they are, they're a far cry from AT&T, Verizon, Comcast, Cox, whoever it is your service provider. There's a difference between providing infrastructure for multiple cities, multiple towns, multiple states, and possibly even throughout the entire country. That kind of infrastructure is harder to upgrade than Google, who gets to kind of sit up on their high horse and say, okay, you get gigabit, you get gigabit. Like, they can kind of cherry pick where they want to go because they don't have an existing infrastructure to update, monitor, continue working on. They can do this, and I think they're in a position that no other, internet provider company is really in a position to do.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you completely. I think that it's an amazing service, and I wish we could get it. Quite frankly, it makes you want to move to Kansas City for no other reason. Interesting story. So what else have we got? Next
story. We're going to talk about. How about this one? Elon Musk. He makes the news. He seems like some kind of supervillain. But this is from Gizmodo. And Elon Musk's space internet plan is moving forward. So in yet another episode of What Crazy Idea is Elon Musk Trying to Disrupt the World with this week, because that seems to be his thing. He comes up with very disruptive technologies and finds ways to bring them to market. An example, PayPal changed the entire online payment market. Tesla changed the entire electric car market. He has that Hyperloop he's trying to build in California that could change crazy amounts of things. SpaceX brought privatized space exploration and privatized space programs. It was really like the first, and hey, it worked. But now in his brain is to get internet to everyone all over the globe.
Okay.
Globe-wide internet is Elon Musk's new plan.
Ambitious.
So, and they said that it would be called SpaceNet, and it began in this past January. And here, I'll hit those up on the video stream. And yeah, it's really, really cool. What, I guess, if this were to come to fruition. But again, Gizmodo, Maddie Stone. So they said that basically Musk wants to use SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. That's the one that goes up and potentially lands back on the ship if they ever get that working. To shoot a constellation of small satellites into low Earth orbit that'll beam signals to the far corners of the planet. The space internet would eventually pick up a decent chunk of web traffic in urban and suburban regions, in addition to bringing billions of internet-less people into the digital age. Because yeah, this internet, when they say globe spanning, that's what they're planning. They're planning this thing to be accessible no matter where you are. Like, seriously, I walk 150 feet from my house and I no longer have internet from anywhere. Like, maybe, like, if I'm lucky, the 3G is feeling lucky that day and I get some 3G. But really internet is just spotty, and he wants to bring it everywhere with a series of satellites. So again, that's the plan, and they have a new filing with the FCC, which would allow SpaceX to test the antenna on its satellites and determine if they're currently strong enough to send signals down to Earth. It's one that the Musk seems to have a vested interest in pushing forward. If the FCC permits it, SpaceX could begin launching test satellites as early as next year. Very, very fast. And if all goes well, the service could be up and running in as few as 5 years. Again, that's 5 years from now, and this thing is definitely going to be free. Like, it's going to be a free, worldwide, no matter where you go, internet service.
Wow. You know, it makes me think a little bit of Motorola with their Iridium phones. The Iridium phones were saying, hey, why bother with cell phones? We'll put several satellites in synchronous orbit with the planet, and then you can make phone calls from anywhere because it'll be a satellite phone. And while that never seemed to take off, because the satellite phones were reminiscent of the old Motorola brick phones, if you probably don't remember those.
Satellite phones kind of went the way of a niche product. Like for hikers, they're a must-have. Like, everyone has a satellite phone. For anyone who goes out there, like, it's still a useful piece of technology.
Yes,
it's just that most people every day don't need one.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. If you're a hiker, or let's say you're out to sea, you're on the ocean, or you need to communicate, you make a phone call. Satellite phones are still useful. Now, I will say that the phones have come down enormously in size. They're not on par with our smartphones today, but a satellite phone still can easily fit in your hand. It still has that huge rubber duck antenna that it still needs because of the frequency. So it's still I've seen them as short as maybe 3 inches now, and they pivot down up and up. They'll have that big heavy antenna on it, but you can literally make a phone call from anywhere on the planet with Iridium. But it's also extremely expensive to do so. Phone calls are very expensive.
Right. Well, this service, SpaceX is kind of hoping. Now, that's one thing that hasn't been discussed yet, which would be the price tag. But I believe SpaceX is hoping that because it's going to reach so many people, and yes, it's going to be in the order of billions. It's not millions, not tens of thousands. In the order of billions of people are going to be able to get internet for the first time. They're hoping that with the proper device, and hey, maybe even through PayPal, they'll, through a very, very small fee, and enough billion people using this thing, they will be able to turn a profit and pay for itself. Like, that's gonna be the hard part, because a proper worldwide internet using only satellites would be a couple thousand different satellites beaming down signals for everyone to use.
I don't know, be a couple of thousand. It certainly had to be.
Well, that's what they're planning. They're planning about 4,000 satellites.
All right. Well, obviously, it's going to be incredibly expensive, first of all. But if they get enough people using it, yes, that paying a monthly fee, yeah, I think it'll come down. I don't think it's going to replace the infrastructure that we have now. But I mean, it's like DirecTV and some of these. You can get internet right now through like DirecTV. If you're out in the boonies and you still need to get internet and there's no line going out there, you can connect via satellite for internet access. I know they put a second generation of satellites up there, so the speeds have improved quite a bit. But
they're still not very good.
It's still not matched for broadband. No, it's still matched for today. I mean, had everybody stayed at dial-up speeds, then that would have been great. But no, with broadband today, you're still, and it is still fairly expensive too. Look, it's Elon Musk. He's a visionary. There's no question about it, and I'm sure that he has the power and the wherewithal and the connections to make something like this happen. I'm just saying this isn't going to happen overnight. This is going to take a while to do, and then
they're saying it could happen within 5 years.
Yeah, I saw him on an interview. He was talking about some other things, and he was talking about the
terraforming of Mars,
the home power sources. He was talking about everything, and the interview was with Stephen Colbert, and he was saying 5 years, and everything he was saying, in 5 years we'll have it. He 5 years seems to be a favorite number for him. Now I'm not sure whether he's just, it's like when you go to that contract.
5 years seems like a short amount of time, but in terms of technology and just the way technology is progressing, 5 years is actually a pretty far ways. Tesla motor vehicles, I believe, was started less than 5 years ago.
I hope he's not like the Shrek brothers. How long to finish it? 2 weeks. So 5 years, maybe not. But it's Elon Musk. We have to give him a chance. And so far, he's proving his point.
He seems to specialize in disruptive technologies. And if anyone had an idea like this, Bill Gates seems to be curing diseases left and right. No one says Elon Musk can't be bringing technology to the masses.
Absolutely. Hey, Microsoft's about to reveal another new Windows 10 hardware product on October the 6th. That's a story we're going to be talking about. Also, the Hidden Hub speaker. It scans the room to produce the best sound. Some great stories coming up. You're listening to the Computer America Show. We got a brand new news tips bulletin review coming up from Marty Winston. We're going to be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
So, does Charleston Chew really have chocolate in it or not? Oh, hi, it's Marty Winston with a news tips bulletin review for Computer America. This time, the Petzilla Petsy Treat Cam. I have a hunch it was our dog, our Jack Russell buddy, who put in the review request that put the Petzilla Petsy Treat Cam in our hands. Now, we've all seen nanny cams adapted to let you keep an eye on your pets when you're away. This kicks that up a notch. You can see and hear the pet. You can talk to the pet. And when you get your pet to do what you remotely ask, the app lets you instruct the gizmo to kick out one of the small pet treats you loaded into it. Bottom line, the Petzilla Petsy Treat Cam helps the pet feel less forgotten when you're away. Buddy, remember, look at the treat cam. Look at the treat. Good boy. I'm sorry, the Petzilla Petsy Treat Cam helps the pet feel less forgotten when you're away. Marty Winston with News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 33 minutes past the hour, and we are doing computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities. Yeah, and we're just going over the news stories of the day and of the weekend. Luckily, not too much has been happening, though a few big stories, of course. And let's see, I believe I did this last one, so right. Yeah.
And for those of you who are looking for Boglo, just know that they have been rescheduled to be on another show. They had some technical difficulties, and so there you go. All right. In the meantime, Microsoft. This is again from Maximum PC, Paul Lillies. We just had all the big announcements from Apple last week. Well, guess what? Microsoft's gonna has their own too. They're said to unveil a new Windows 10 hardware on the 6th of October. Okay. They're being very cryptic about it. It's going to take place in New York City at Monument Station in New York at 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Microsoft has begun sending invites to members of the press for this event. And all they're saying is there's some exciting news to share about Windows 10 devices, and unquote. That's basically all they're saying. No specifics. But obviously there are all kinds of rumors. One of the items likely to make its debut is a Surface Pro 4 tablet, which would explain the recent sale promotions for the Surface Pro 3, because obviously there's going to be a successor coming out. Let's see, what are the kind of rumors? Some say Microsoft will opt for an Intel Core M foundation, while others point to a more burly Core i5 and Core i7 processor options. Okay. Intel obviously just recently had their slew of Skylake processors announced, so many of those are aimed at mobile devices. So it seems probable that the Surface Pro 4 will also feature Skylake instead of Broadwell. Let's see, what else is it saying? Oh yeah, it said that Microsoft will also introduce a second-generation fitness wearable, the Microsoft Band 2, and also new flagship phones, the Lumia 950 and the Lumia 950 XL.
Lumia, not Lumina.
You're right, Lumia. Thank you. And they're if you don't know these phones, you might know them by their code names, which were Talkman and Cityman. Well, now remember, nothing has been confirmed yet, but it's believed that the Lumia 950 will support a 5.2-inch display, and the Lumia 950 XL a 5.7-inch panel, both with 2560 by 1440 resolution.
See, that's pretty good. I was just looking to the Apple 6s Plus, and yeah, of course, the larger of the two Apple phones comes in at 5.5-inch screen with a 1080p resolution, and this Windows phone is going to have a larger screen with a higher resolution, and it looks like probably some faster processing and comparable storage. So, it's these Windows phones are going to be on par with Apple in terms of hardware specs. That's not saying anything about design or operating system or whatnot. Just in terms of hardware, they are on par.
All right. So
on par or better. On par or better. There we go.
Well, be that as it may, we'll know more about it on the 6th of October. And that's when they're going to make these new announcements. I have officially decided, with my phone, Ben, I have the iPhone 5S, and I skipped the 6. I think but now with the 6S, it looks like I'm going to go with the 6S phone when that comes out.
You don't want the 6S Plus?
No, not the Plus. No, the big Plus is way too big. I'm going to get a 6S. And I don't know. If you're going to get a new one too, you're going to probably get a 6S Plus. Is that what you're saying, or are you going to stick with the?
Yep, 6S Plus.
6S Plus. Okay, there it is. And there are different options too. We have to see which ones we qualify for, but it looks like yours truly is going to go for the 6S at this point, and rather than waiting another year before the next phone, the iPhone 7 comes out.
Yep. Phones come, phones go. Just buy whatever you can, the best you can, the earliest you can, and stave off, as Craig likes to say, stave off obsolescence.
Yes.
But, all right, so this next story we're going to talk about is very, very cool. You ever heard of DARPA, Craig?
Doppler?
DARPA, DARPA.
Yes, DARPA. Okay. Yes, I do know about DARPA. What about
All right, DARPA. DARPA, this is from Popular Science, and it's labeled under military for some reason. But this is from Rebecca Boyle, and only an hour ago, by hardwiring into the brains of people with traumatic injuries, scientists have been able to restore the feeling of touch and to improve memories, according to DARPA.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
Right. I feel like you're not freaking out enough about this.
That is
They have restored the sensation of touch and have computer-assisted memories in people.
we're turning people into cyborgs.
Yeah, that is it. This is the definition of cyborgs.
Exactly.
So, in a study, a 28-year-old man who was paralyzed more than a decade ago became the first person to feel physical touch through a prosthetic hand. The patient could already control the robotic hand through his thoughts, which other people have already done. But this was the first time anyone could feel through it too.
That is amazing. I wonder about that when they say he can control it through thoughts. In other words, when you have your hand, you open and close your hand. You sort of think about it. You don't even think about it anymore. It just sort of. So I wonder if he's doing the same thing. Is it the same kind of thought process?
It's probably well, no, it's of course we have this thing called muscle memory where we open and close our hands all the time, so it becomes so routine to us that we hardly even think about it. It would be like his is probably going to be the same as he gets used to it, but it's probably a very deliberate, because they I don't know, I assume wiring into the spinal cord is not an easy thing to do. But having those signals sent, it's probably a very deliberate motion. So, the hand isn't going completely crazy when he's not thinking about it. It's probably dampened to some extent. But the whole sensation of touch as well, that just adds a completely different level of complexity to it.
Yeah, I would think
to
so.
add touch to it. So, they said that the patient are in another breakthrough. Volunteers who got electric arrays implanted in their brains are seeing improvements in their memory. The project, called Restoring Active Memory, or of course RAM, could help people suffering from traumatic brain injury. The Defense Department's research wing shared both milestones last week at a conference called Wait, What? And the name of the conference was Wait, What? ? Mind-controlled robot limbs have gotten incredibly sophisticated over the past few years, and culminating in the FDA's approval of a bionic arm developed with DARPA funding. The agency's newest research department, the Biological Technologies Office, is trying to make them better, said the program manager. And yeah, so they went through a study in patient's motor cortex. They said that it allowed him to control the hand with his thoughts. The hand contains sensors that can detect when pressure is being applied to its fingers and converts this pressure into electrical signals that the brain implant reads. In a series of tests, the team touched each of the prosthetic hand's fingers while the patient was blindfolded. He was able to tell almost 100% accurately which finger was being touched. That's crazy.
Crazy.
That is crazy. So they have a quote here. At one point, instead of pressing one finger, the team decided to press two without telling him. He responded asking whether somebody was trying to play a trick on him. That is when we knew that the feeling he was perceiving through a robotic hand were near natural. So, these signals, even though they're each individual and you would think, okay, they can only sense one or all. No, they can sense two at a time as well. So researchers were able to capture signals coming from the brain during the process of memory formation and recall. This is about the implant of the memory array. The goal is to improve memory by using targeted electrical stimulation, which could help people with memory problems, including those with traumatic brain injuries, which unfortunately happens so much in the armed forces. And they have a closing quote here. As the technology of these fully implantable devices improves, and as we learn about how to stimulate the brain even more precisely to achieve the most therapeutic effects, I believe we are going to gain a critical capacity to help our wounded warriors and others who today suffer from intractable neurological problems. These advances, I guess, are tailor-made for people who are suffered injuries through the armed forces. Loss of limb is not uncommon. Traumatic brain injury, not uncommon in the armed forces. And I hate to say it, but sometimes the best science comes out of war. That's That's a fact. But it's very, very cool to see that people, even if they weren't injured in an explosion or some kind of catastrophic accident, maybe they're born with some kind of impairment, this technology is getting developed, and everyone who could possibly use it is going to benefit from it.
I wonder, does the hand have 5 fingers, 5 digits in the hand?
This one in the picture does not seem. This one seems to have 4, a thumb and 3 fingers.
Okay, because if you're going,
One in the picture.
yeah, because if you're going to push 2 fingers at the same time, you can't start. You can't give him just a 3-finger hand to. He's going to have a hand that models what a natural hand would be like.
Well, he does and he doesn't. I mean, this hand just has to be capable. There's nowhere that says it has to have 5 fingers.
Unless you wanted to try to mimic the hand that he was born with. Yeah, exactly. But
well, the brain is a very adaptive thing. It's
yes, it is.
If you gave them a prosthetic hand that was wired to feel through 4 of its fingers, the brain wouldn't just reject the hand outright and then start trying to tear it off. No, the brain would compensate.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I know, for example, there was this. They did a thing where they put a pair of glasses on somebody, and with the glasses would literally flip everything upside down, and he was forced to wear it for like 3 weeks, or a period of time. And after a while, when he had the glasses on, he found that he was seeing everything right side up. The brain flipped everything over.
Yeah.
And then when he took the glasses off, everything was upside down again. He had to readjust. Because actually, I don't know if you know that, but the image on your optic nerve is actually upside down. You're seeing it upside down, but the brain flips it over. So the brain, it proves to show that the brain is a very flexible, adaptable organ in our brain, and it can adjust for things like that.
But they're getting better and better at pretending and acting like the signals that are going to the like they're getting better at targeting certain brain signals and at imitating certain brain signals, to the point where now there's someone out there with a prosthetic hand that can actually feel touch, that can actually feel pressure.
That is amazing. That is amazing. This next story is from Engadget, and it's called "Hidden Hub Speaker Scans the Room to Produce the Best Sound." I've seen something similar like this before, but not in a consumer product like this. But basically, what it does is, okay, it says that a unique set of features and interesting design from a portable speaker is beginning to get noticed today. It's made by a company called Hidden, and this newest offering, according to the article, is saying that it's definitely intriguing. This is by John Turry from Engadget. The company calls it the Hidden Radio series. It was the latest release, providing pop-ups of pills of 360-degree sound and capacitive touch controls. This time, it's taking to Kickstarter, by the way, to launch the Hidden Hub, which is a more well-endowed offering that goes beyond the basics with adaptive acoustic sound, smart features, and a really cool-looking futuristic design. You can head over to a crowdfunding page today to check it out. And they're offering this Hidden Hub for $339, which is a hefty savings over its over the proposed $599 retail price. Okay, which of course is not inexpensive, but it does sound like an interesting piece of hardware, especially when you could do double duty as a glowing blue wall sconce. But the hub can share sound with nearby Bluetooth speakers or a network of other hubs scattered throughout the home for multi-room audio. These units can use your existing Wi-Fi network to communicate, or if you're off the grid, it can set up its own 5 gigahertz network to tie them all together. Mobile devices and computers can connect wirelessly through Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, or AirPlay, and we're told it will support DLNA, which is very cool. That's that new technology. Now, when you're nearby, volume and track selection can be controlled by using the touch-sensitive smart dial on the top of the edge of the speaker itself. A single tap will start and stop the music, while a double tap will skip to the next track. Volume can be controlled by swiping clockwise or counterclockwise around the hub's edge. And there's also an autoplay feature that's supposed to sense whether a user leaves the room. It'll turn itself off and resume when you go back into the room, which I think is very, very cool. Okay. Now, and when you do, it'll resume where it left off when you return, which is kind of neat. And there's one of the more unique features of the Hidden Hub is its adaptive sound technology. This uses an accelerometer to detect whether it's on a table or mounted vertically on a wall, along with infrared sensors to scan the area so it can optimize the audio output according to its environment. We haven't seen any specs regarding its audio capabilities, but with its clean circular design and glowing blue underside, it's definitely an interesting addition to the growing world of intelligent speakers. And that's what we're talking about, intelligent speaker systems here in the show within Gadget. So we're going to continue on here. Ben is currently in the process of getting our second hour guest.
I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, right. Okay. All right. So I just finished the story up. So why don't you just do a next one then?
Sure. All right. So this next story we're going to talk about is, we could talk about how NFL is bringing television to everyone and everywhere. That'd be very, very cool. But I think instead we're going to talk about Epson.
All right.
We should probably mention the show. They're friends of the show, longtime friends of the show, been on numerous times, and they are getting some not very good press.
Really?
Actually, yeah. And we're going to be fair about this because this is coming from Ars Technica, and I actually saw the video when this first came out, and it's pretty surprising about just what is going on with this. Now, we will say that what happened was there are these Epson ink cartridges for large commercial printers.
Mm-hmm.
They cost about $3,000 a piece, or about about $5,000 a piece. And the company that was using them kind of felt that the ink that was in them, whenever the cartridge read empty, they still felt pretty heavy. So they opened up the cartridges, which was not easy to do. They had to pry open, twist open, and cut open the ink cartridge pouch after it was quote unquote empty, and cut open and poured into beakers just how much ink was left in these empty cartridges, or supposedly empty cartridges. And they found that by weight, there was still about 20% of the ink left in the cartridge still after it was unusable. Because again, when these cartridges are rendered empty, the printer won't even use them. Like, it won't keep using them or try to extract the last little bit out of it. Instead, it will just kind of say, you must replace it or else it won't work altogether.
Yeah, and not only these big commercial printers that Epson makes, but that all of their ink cartridges have this little chip in them, and it's like acts like a little countdown. When it reaches a certain level, the chip will say, sorry, you can't use it anymore. It just won't continue printing until there's no more ink. It stops printing. Now I have to say, with the Epson printer that I have here, when it says the printer cartridge is empty, because normally I can shake it and I can feel hear the ink in it. When it says empty, the ones that I have and I'm shaking, it's empty. There's no ink in there. You can't hear it. I mean, it takes it down to the wire. At least but that's in the consumer version.
Yeah.
Talking about these commercial printers with these huge cartridges.
As you can see in the video there, they are absolutely huge. Yeah. And they, he actually gets into them, cuts them open, and they're finding about 15 to 20% of the ink is actually left over. And of course, one thing the article from Ars Technica makes very clear, and I believe we want to make that clear too, is that Epson isn't intentionally doing this. Like, they don't. No one is saying that Epson is, ripping their customers off, fleecing them, whatever, or just trying to get them to buy more ink. No, it's honestly, probably what I'm thinking is a technical issue. Like, maybe there's not enough pressure for, there's not enough pressure for the ink to be used, because when there's that much empty space or void space, perhaps the ink just doesn't come out reliably. And in a commercial setting, you kind of care more about reliability than saving that last 15-20% of ink. It's, so there may be reasons behind it. Those reasons,
Yeah, but that's a lot of
technical.
I hear what you're saying. I commend you for giving them the benefit of the doubt, but it's not just a few drops, folks. Here we're looking at beakers full of ink. I mean, it looks like a lot of ink in there, and I understand that maybe not maintaining the proper pressure, but if they've got a problem,
there's definitely room for improvement in terms of dispensing this ink. If there's still 20% of the ink left at the end of the day, there's definitely room for improvement. I'm just saying that the way they currently are set up might be a technical reason and not strictly a profit margin reason.
And if that's the case, hopefully it's something that's it's as simple as a firmware upgrade. I know I get a lot of firmware upgrades from my consumer product. It basically loads the firmware of the printer. They make adjustments and what have you, and they'll upload that. And I get a firmware update every couple of months for my Epson printer. So that's not to say that they can't do an adjustment that way as well.
I'm thinking it's not really a firmware update problem, because these things look like they're designed like giant boxes that are easy to swap in and swap out. I'm guessing it would have something to do with how they're designed and the way the ink is extracted from these pouches. And that would probably need to go back to the drawing table, because there's always room for improvement in anything anyone does. And with that much ink, kind of sadly going to waste, and if you're watching the video, it was a lot of ink, so hopefully they'll get it worked out. Attention to the subject will only make them better if they listen to it.
This is true. And Epson always is shown to be quite receptive to user requests.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if we have time to do one more story here, do we?
Yeah, I mean, if you can find a short one.
They're all pretty long. I don't know. Why don't you pick one?
All right, yeah, I'll pick one real quick. Blood pressure. That's a hot topic in this house, let alone.
Mm-hmm.
Blood pressure may have just changed if you're over 50.
Uh-oh.
We know quite a few of you are over 50. But it's okay. 50 is the new, 7, whatever. But today, the National Institute of Health, NIH, they said that show major benefits of having a systolic blood pressure, the pressure when the heart is contracting, and the first number in a blood pressure reading of 120 for people over 50, which is below the current of 140. So 120 is the desired blood pressure if you're over 50. They said that it's particularly important in terms of overall health for that to be true at ages over 50. So under 50, it's definitely keep it down there as low as you can. But over 50, it's of particular importance to do that. And so they said that this, of course, comes also that anyone who has a blood pressure reading of anything over 120 should start going on blood pressure medication to lower their blood pressure below 120. So before, the cutoff was 140, and then you start taking medications to lower it. Mm-hmm. Now the cutoff is 120, and you should start taking medication to lower it.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. So they said that they saw a reduced risk in death by almost 25% and a 1/3 lower rate of stroke and other dangerous cardiovascular events at these lower pressures. So, 25% for 20, for 20 points, that's something to take note of.
Yes, it is. Okay. And, obviously the key to everything is just, try to stay healthy. All right. We got our second hour of the show is coming up here in a couple of minutes. Again, our first hour guest was Boglo, and we had some technical difficulties. Our associate producer is going to reschedule them probably for the month of October, and we'll have them back on. So if you were looking for that, it was part of the Back to the School effort, because Boglo has this really cool social media network for back to school items and everything. But we'll have them back. Coming up in the next hour, we're going to have the co-founder and president of uBreakiFix, Justin Weatherall, is going to be joining us. They have looks like they have about at least 10 stores in the South Florida area. And again, the name says it. Basically, if you break an electronic device, where do you go to get it fixed? Evidently, now you have some place you can take it and get it fixed.
You go to your younger cousin who has a toolkit and Dorito dust all over his fingers, and you say, "Can you replace my screen for me?"
And then when he does, then you have this big thumbprint, and it's not Touch ID. Exactly, it's made from Cheetos dust. All right, well, we're going to have him on the program in the second hour. We're going to just take a brief moment to pause and refresh, and then we'll be back with uBreakiFix. If you have a comment or question, again, 347-884-8881. I'll get you through. 347-884-8881. Or submit a question at our website, any of the upper right-hand corner of any page. Just click the submit a question and get your question answered that way. We're going to just break for a moment. We got another new typical review coming up as well. You're listening to Computer America. Please stay with us.
Broadcasting live. It's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@ComputerAmerica.com.
Hello and welcome into hour 2 of the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And again, if you just joined us, we just finished up doing our computer and technology news, brought to you by Slimware Utilities. As our first hour guest, we had some technical difficulties. We'll have him back on later on in the month or in the month of October, Boglow. So stay tuned for that. Just watch our website at ComputerAmerica.com. Everything that we do is posted there. It's our internet home, ComputerAmerica.com. Keep you apprised of what's going on in the program. Okay. We of course are going to have a brand new social media winner of the week. If you haven't subscribed to any of our social media sites,
then shame on you.
Yes, and we encourage you to do so because every week we draw a winning name from subscribers to our social media sites to win a very nice prize from Logitech, the Logitech Anywhere MX2 wireless mouse, about at $80. And again, it's got some really terrific features, some of which I've never seen in a mouse before, like the button that allows you to select up to 3 different computers just by pressing the button with the same mouse. And it has the dark field technology, so you can even use the mouse on glass surfaces, that type of thing. So head on over to there. You can actually see it. We have a link to the mouse at ComputerAmerica.com. Just go to our social media contest page. Every social media that we participate on here at Computer America that you subscribe to or like, whatever it is, those count as additional entries every single week. You just have to do it once. So if you like our Facebook page and you subscribe to our YouTube page, that's 2 entries every single week on Friday you have in there. If you go to another one, that's 3. In other words, and all the links are there at our social media contest page. We encourage you to do it. And who knows, we could be calling your name coming up in the next hour. Okay, anything else, Ben, you want to mention before we bring on our next guest?
No. I think we've said in the first hour, and we should just jump right into it.
Okay. Again, let me just give you the number again: 347-884-8881. We'll get you on and get you through, or go to any website web page at our website. In the upper right-hand corner, it says "Submit a Question." Just click that. You'll go to our question submission page, and you can ask a question of our guests, or make a comment or suggestion. We'd love to hear from you. All right, then let's do it. uBreakiFix is the name of the company. They fix electronic devices. Okay, now, I don't know if you're a secret agent who jumped out of a plane and forgot that your iPhone 6 was in your pocket, so it took a painful journey to the ground without a parachute. Well, I wouldn't worry about my phone at that point. I'd be more worried about me.
No. But the phone needs to survive. How else are you going to call back to HQ?
Exactly.
Then the whole mission's bust.
I think it's more realistic if you just dropped your tablet in the toilet, Although the tablet's
That's not.
well,
First of all, not sanitary. Second of all, not any more reasonable.
yeah, exactly. Or if a car runs over it, or you
That happens.
or if it leaves you leave it out in the rain.
That
Don't worry.
happens.
Yep. uBreakiFix has been there themselves. They've gone through this and they understand how traumatic it can be when you break your precious devices. Now, here to talk about this with us is Justin Weatherall. Justin is uBreak's co-founder and president. Justin, welcome into Computer America. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks so much for having me.
Our pleasure. So you heard my introduction, but why don't you tell our listeners in your own words about uBreakiFix? What's it all about?
Sure. So kind of, uBreakiFix was born out of, my heartbreak when I dropped my phone and kind of looked around and realized there was no other good option. Quite frankly, grew up building computers, kind of a nerd. Went about trying to fix it myself and broke it worse. And it was at that time realized, like, if I was in that boat, considering myself pretty, technically inclined, that there were probably a lot of other people in that boat too. So rather than backing away, kind of just doubled down, ordered a lot of parts on eBay, got proficient at fixing some broken phones that I purchased, and then started fixing them for hire.
It was just that simple. It was you just. I mean, that's sort of how Ben started. He broke his phone a couple of times, but he was able to kind of figure out, how to put in a broken screen, and I guess he started on the path.
It's a very and I'm sure that you can back this up, Justin. Where we're kind of drilled, especially by Apple and all these other places, that technology is scary to fix. Like do you think people kind of get that sense that technology is either hard, too complicated, too hard, too scary for them to for them to really do anything by themselves?
Without taking a too big of a shot at handset OEMs, I think that it's they're uniquely positioned to benefit from people replacing their devices rather than repairing them. So, adding some mysticism to how challenging they are to repair, kind of not helping you down that journey, and then making repair parts incredibly hard to get, I don't think is coincidence.
Really? You think they're doing it intentionally?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a stat that I could back it up with per se, but what percentage of people do go and buy a new one because theirs is broken?
Well,
right.
that's true. I mean, it's easier to. I mean, people can fix. If you drop your phone and the screen cracks, you can fix the screen, but still the case gets dented and dinged and everything. So maybe the newness of it is off, and people just say, I don't want to scratch the beat up phone, even though they fixed the screen. It looks terrible. I'm just going to go buy a whole new one. Or I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
I could see that point of view. Actually, the industry is going the opposite way, though. What we used to have in the past were kind of these large depots that completely refurbish devices. So you broke your phone, you'd call your insurance company, they'd send you one advanced exchange, you'd move your contacts and your pictures over, and you would send yours back at your convenience. They would refurbish the entire thing and send it back out. And what you're seeing now in the industry is all of these insurance providers are moving towards same device repair, because people often put these phones in cases. The dings, the dents, they're not really worried about. But at the end of the day, what's important to note is people have their entire lives in these phones. Their kids' pictures, the pictures of a relative who's no longer alive, contacts, whatever it is. And transferring that information to another device leaves them feeling a little uneasy. So, what we're actually seeing in the industry is we're being reached out to by depots and insurance providers and things of that nature in order to complete repairs on the same device, so that, that traumatic experience doesn't have to be such a heartache.
Yeah, I would think so. So tell us about what kind of services you offer. what? First of all, uBreakiFix is what, a series of stores? I mean, what is the company itself?
Sure. So we started in 2009. Kind of in the first 3 years of operation, we grew to 47 corporate stores, and kind of at the end of 2012, with 47 corporate stores under our belt, we were kind of looking at the growth plan, and we decided to franchise. So now we're a franchisor. We've been doing that for just over 2 years. A lot of the strength in running those corporate stores translated well into supporting franchisees. And quite simply, we like to say that, we can fix anything with a power button. And, one of the things that really sets uBreakiFix apart is our free diagnostic service. So, people bring in anything with a power button with confidence, knowing that if we can't fix it, there's not going to be a service charge or what have you. And we fix the craziest things, from those parrots at the Rainforest Cafe, you press a button and it repeats the sentence to you, to, LCDs and sonogram machines, you name it.
All right. So you're not just talking about smartphones then. We're talking about, or tablets. We're talking beyond the technology. Do you repair computers?
Absolutely.
And printers? I mean, all that stuff then.
Yeah, printers, I think that as far as printers are concerned on a consumer level, I think that the mindset is very much a replacement mentality, unfortunately, rather than a repair mentality. And, we're trying very hard to change that.
Well, I mean, let's look at it. If you can buy a printer now for like $60-$70, if that, and if it breaks eventually, does it really pay to get it repaired, or just go out and get a newer model? I mean, you tell me.
I mean, arguably, some printers you can buy cheaper than you can buy ink for.
That's
Right.
That's very true. So
I mean, I treat printers like I do plastic bags. It's one-time use and throw it away. That's just...
Well, not those commercial printers though. I don't know if you were listening to the story earlier, but the Epson with the ink cartridges, they had like 20% of the ink still in there, and they were was saying throw them away. But anyway,
I did. I think those printers are probably worth fixing.
Yeah, those are very expensive. But the cost of electronic devices are coming down so rapidly that you can buy some. I mean, I picked up a Blu-ray player. It was like a fraction of the weight. The Blu-ray player I had before weighed like about 12 or 14 pounds, and it had very limited smart capabilities. And then I bought a replacement Blu-ray player at like Walmart for like $70, and it had all the smarts. It weighed a fraction of the weight, like maybe a pound or something, and it did far more than the big one. And I spent about $79 for it. If that thing broke, I don't know if does it really pay to replace devices that are inexpensive. I mean, where do you draw the line? I guess, Justin, how much do you have to spend on should you spend on something that you think is justifiable to spend more money to fix it?
And we encourage the employees in the stores to be very transparent about that process. Hey, I know you really like this phone, but it's only worth $100, and it's going to cost me $100 to fix it. And you'd be surprised how many times people say, I don't care what it costs. I just want it back the way it is.
Okay.
And, a DVD player is easier to switch than your phone maybe per se. But, there's tons of times where a customer will come in with, a Motorola Razr, an older phone that's not even worth $100. And we'll tell them, it's not worth fixing. And they'll say, it doesn't matter. I want my phone the way it was. And we'll end up buying a Motorola Razr online and just swapping the board between the two so that, they still have their phone set up the way they want it.
Yeah, but isn't that's more, I think, of people holding on to the technology that's what's the word?
See, but I don't think they're being led. So I think that's part of I know what's going on, but I want it the way I want it, and some people have to respect that.
But it's legacy. Some of this stuff is legacy technology, is it not? I mean, you say you got to scour trying to find a way to something to replace it. Where I mean, I went to a movie the other day, and I saw a commercial, and it was for a guy who was bragging about he had his smartphone, he had his phone fixed, and he could store 10 numbers in it by pushing the buttons because it was a really old phone, rather than upgrading. And it was, they were poking fun at people like that. But I guess there are people out there like that who just, they like it the way it is without understanding that, it could be so much better. It really could.
So I guess this is part of where uBreakiFix comes in. What kind of special emphasis do you put on customer support?
Yeah, so pretty much we've built this business 100% around customer service. When we entered the industry, quite frankly, when you walked into a cell phone repair shop, you didn't know what you were going to get. Yeah, they might fix your screen, but the power button might not work anymore. Or you might go in and pay one price, and the guy behind you might pay a different price, and you might have to haggle with them. So when we kind of started the venture into the cell phone repair industry, we identified a few key differences for the customer that we wanted to bring into it. One was transparent online pricing kind of across all stores, so you knew what you were going to pay before you walked in. The second big one was an unconditional 90-day warranty. Another one was the free diagnostic, to make sure people weren't paying a charge and not actually receiving any benefit. So kind of we started with that, and you've quickly seen that become the industry norm. I mean, if you even went to some of my competitor shops today, they would be offering kind of the same things we started. And at our core, we identify as a place that serves the users of tech, not necessarily just a repair shop. So our employees throughout these stores are trained and instructed to kind of take that traumatic experience, because the challenge is even greater. It's not like you go to Best Buy and you're happy to buy that new electronic. When somebody drops their phone, that's $100 they didn't expect to spend. So they're already bummed out. So we really see it as a challenge to kind of turn that experience around and make repair a better option than replacement.
All right. So that's what you say would be unique about uBreakiFix when you compare it with other tech repair shops?
Yeah, just the dedication to customer service. I mean, we have we develop our own point of sale in-house, our own portal system in-house, our own distribution center here in Orlando, Florida, to keep part quality consistent across the brand. So, very high level summary would be, the dedication to customer service would be the thing that sets us apart, but we do that, through a variety of different tools.
Now, where are your stores located? Are you in malls? Are you in strip malls? Are you standalone? And what cities, what part of the country are you in at this point?
So we're in most major markets: Chicago, LA, New York, Florida, South Florida heavily. I'm from South Florida, so naturally that's one of the first places we expanded. Pretty randomly spread out throughout the country. We have 140 stores open today.
Wow, 140 stores. That's amazing. Congratulations. I mean,
Very impressive.
Yeah, very impressive.
Thank you.
How long have you been in business?
It was 6 years this April.
So you've been really on the stick there. You've been really moving. How
do you find time to run these stores? You must be running around with scissors all the time, cutting ribbons.
It's funny that we found that if you kind of invest in the people that work in the stores, that they'll, give a good experience to the customer, and the rest kind of figures itself out. So we've heavily rewarded our employees as we've grown, and given them the opportunity to advance and own their own stores and things like that. And it makes running 140 stores really easy when you have a staff that's as bought in as ours is.
All right. So are you a franchise, or do you own your own stores, or do you? I'm familiar with some stores like I think Publix in South Florida gives its employees some stock in the company. I mean, how do you work it with your employees? How do you do it?
So a lot of times it turns into us helping them do their own stores. So we are a franchise, and we've helped over 60 employees open up their own locations throughout the past couple of years.
Wow. Obviously, in your
whether that means selling them a corporate store we already have, and creating a loan for them that they can easily afford, or even financing. There's plenty of stores we financed for 0% to our employees to kind of make a difference for them and their families.
Yeah, that's investing in your employees. It's very admirable.
It is. What kind of experience does an employee have in order to either not necessarily to run the store, but be employed by uBreakiFix? Do you have what do you look for? What kind of certifications, if any? Can you give us a little more of a breakdown there?
So that's a funny question. Everybody always thinks, you want somebody with computer repair experience or an A+ certification or cell phone repair experience, but we actually just look for people who are nice. We have a running joke that it's easier to teach people how to fix things than it is to teach them how to be nice to people. So, we've invested heavily in a pretty thorough training program. So we literally just look for nice, honest, hardworking people that, want to take their career to the next level and, invest in them. And what we found is by investing in them and teaching them a skill they didn't have before, they really appreciate it, and you get a lot more out of them for it.
Okay, so if someone fills out an employment application to work at a uBreakiFix store, and you're gonna have to ask them, well, what's your background and you have to ask them what kind of experience do they have, right? I mean, don't you? I mean, I understand being nice is great and everything, but being nice isn't.
I can vouch a little bit for this myself, where I had little to no experience, and one day. Craig was rambling off a couple of examples of how you can break devices, and one day my iPhone had a truck sitting on top of it, and found it. The screen was broken, all that kind of good stuff, and I went online, watched a couple of YouTube videos, ordered the parts online, and I repaired my iPhone for the first time. Like training for these kinds of things aren't a 4-year degree kind of situation. It's maybe a couple classes and some know-how, but I would guess just really the willingness to learn is more important than the actual experience.
Absolutely. A perfect resume would be somebody who maybe worked at an AT&T or in a Best Buy Mobile and was familiar with the models of phones and the types of phones and how to navigate through a variety of phones, whether it be Android or iOS, or maybe worked in computer sales, or just familiar with some of these electronics industries, but not necessarily had maybe the bad habits or things like that can come of maybe hiring from a direct competitor or something like that.
Right.
Exactly. All right. So so I guess let me ask you this: how quickly is the tech repair market growing, and why do you think this is happening?
Well, one thing that's been really big for us is consumers, specifically related to cell phones, are now educated on the true value of their phones. So they know that, let's say 2 years ago when you bought a 5S, you went to AT&T, you paid $199, you left, you broke it. 4 months later, you came into my store, you said, "Hey, Justin, how much is it to fix this?" I said, "It's $199. And you looked at me like I had two heads, because I paid $199 for this phone. And we have to go through the same spiel of, oh, that's a subsidized price. That's not necessarily the case. And now that conversation has become really easy because the carriers have put that off onto the consumers. So now, everybody knows that their 6S Plus 128 gig phone is $940, because you have to finance the whole thing at 0% with the carrier. Right. So we've seen the industry growing a lot because people truly understand the value of their devices a little bit more as it relates to the wireless field. Computers specifically, people don't buy a lot of new computers. Like I mentioned previously, people like their files where their files are and their printers installed, and they don't want to migrate all that to a new computer when something's not running right, or they drop it and break the screen. So, I think previously, one of the things blocking consumers from actually repairing their devices was it wasn't convenient. They had to mail it out. They had to go somewhere and wait 7 days. If you can give somebody a repair for a fair price and a quick turnaround, I think, a lot of people would opt for that. And that's what we've been doing, and we've seen tremendous success with that.
Well, that certainly is that's nice. I mean, it's everything sounds like you have a good plan, and things are working out successfully for you. So let me ask you this: what are the benefits of choosing to repair a device? Again, we covered this a little bit about instead of simply replacing it. I asked you to give me like a point of no return. Is it just cost, or is it just age, or are there other guidelines as to what you might suggest? I mean, someone walks in and they say, I want you to fix it. And you say, just go out and get yourself another one. I mean, does that happen frequently?
It certainly happens, especially with laptops and things. People tend to hang on to their laptops for a lot longer than we used to. It's not unusual to have, a laptop computer that's, 4 or 5 years old. And sometimes, you can go down to Best Buy and buy a new one that's, blows the specs on the one you have out of the water for $349, $449. So sometimes it means that conversation, but ironically, a lot of times people would just prefer to have their computer back to the way it was a week ago.
Well, really? Okay.
Oh, and maybe we could start getting into just what it is you guys repair, because it sounds like you guys have a lot of stores and you obviously have a lot of parts and a lot of deals. But I think with Apple products specifically, if I offered to go into Craig's office right now and say, "Hey, Craig, I'm going to swap out your hard drive for you," he's going to, stop me with a hand on my chest and say, "No, you're not touching my computer. You're going to void the warranty." Is everything you do, does that kind of stay within, manufacturer warranties, or do you provide your own warranty? And which devices do you kind of, work? Which manufacturers do you work with? I'm sorry.
Sure. So right now, currently, we do not work with any manufacturers. Like I said, they're very interested in selling new devices and kind of haven't awoken to the repair generation, we'll call it. So unfortunately, there's no direct relationships with that as of yet, because there's none available. It's not like, we're not actively trying every day. In regards to warranties, we do provide our own warranty to make sure that people feel comfortable coming into our stores and they know, they're getting a quality part put on there. And at the end of the day, it's all about customer service. If I say uBreakiFix has a 90-day warranty and you come in 93 days later, we're not going to say, "Oh, sorry, you just missed it." We're going to take care of you. And we haven't ran into any issues with that.
Right. Well, that's good. Is there anything a consumer can do to extend the life of their personal electronic devices?
A good case. There's a newer product on the market, a tempered glass product that a lot of people are putting on their phones now. We also sell in our stores that a lot of times if you drop your phone, that cover glass will break rather than your more expensive actual glass. So that's been working out really good for people. But those are the two big things I would recommend: just a good case and maybe some tempered glass application.
But Justin, when I buy a smartphone or an iPhone or whatever, the last thing I want to do is put a case on it, because you buy it for it's thin, it's sleek, it looks so great, and now you put this big bulky case on it. And
Okay. Justin, you were invited on the show here on Computer. We love having you here on Computer America, but you're not allowed to laugh at Craig. But he keeps it in his shirt pocket is the problem.
I keep my phone in my shirt pocket. Right, exactly. It fits nicely.
So
I'm laughing because I'm in the same camp. Like, I'm a clumsy person. I break my phone. I just broke it 2 weeks ago. Fixed it myself because I still like to do that. But I probably break phones 2 to 3 times a year and still don't put it in a case, just because I like, the manufacturer put a lot of time designing in these phones, and I want to, touch it and feel it like it's meant to be used, and
there you
not
go.
have a big bulky case on top. But unfortunately, I do break things more because of it. So
I rest my
give and take.
I rest my case, man. You see, there you go.
But accidents happen to everyone. It's,
that's true.
It happened across the.
I'm looking at this. What kind of smartphone do you use, Justin?
I'm currently using an iPhone 6 Plus.
Okay, there. They're coming out with the iPhone 6S, that rose gold. It looks absolutely gorgeous. And now I'm gonna put a big bulky case on the thing, and and never get to enjoy that.
Then I must be in the opposite camp, because I break mine. 2 to 3 times a year is pretty good for me. That's pretty low. But if I can get an $80 OtterBox case and really keep it safe, that's probably going to be better for me, because I don't mind the case.
You didn't have
different strokes for different folks,
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there it is. That's what makes the world go around with this. So So now, do people have to come to your store? They have to be nearby, or can they mail it in, or I mean, if you're not in the, because obviously you're not everywhere. I mean, or do you only deal with people who walk into the store physically?
So we do have a ship to store program where customers can go online and mail the phone to the closest store enrolled in that program, and most of our stores are enrolled in it. So, rather than mailing it to a depot across the country, if you're in Indiana, you can ship it to the Indiana store. Ground will get it there in one day. They'll fix it and ground it back to you in another day. Saves on shipping costs and makes the turnaround as quick as possible.
All right, and in most cases, does it only take you one day to fix something, or does it take longer?
Correct. No, most of the time it takes under an hour.
Wow.
We have, like I said, a pretty sophisticated point of sale and portal system that tracks required inventory across all of our stores so that we can make sure we're delivering on timely repairs for the flagship devices.
All right, Justin, we're gonna take a little break here, and then we're gonna come back to you. All right, so stay with us.
Good.
All right, you're listening to the Computer America Show. Ben and I are talking to uBreakiFix, the company's co-founder and president, Justin Wetherill. We're gonna have another news tips bulletin review with Marty Whiston, another brand new one, and then we'll be right back. Stay tuned for more Computer America. Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group. All in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no-kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Because it's bigger on the inside, kind of like Spanx. Oh, hi, it's Marty Winston with a news tips bulletin review for Computer America. This time, F-Secure Freedom. We wanted to be, or at least appear to be, in London for some of our planned online activities. So we asked F-Secure to let us review Freedom. Think of it as a planetary wormhole that makes you appear to be somewhere else in terms of your internet presence. London is one of 15 locations we can select. Its operation includes browsing and tracking protection, and in our trials, our browsers work through it as smoothly as they do when it isn't magically making us seem to be someplace else. Bottom line, F-Secure Freedom lets your internet presence travel the world without you needing to even leave your chair. Marty Winston with a news tips bulletin review for Computer America. Do you think I'm really here?
We know you're here, Marty Winston. We know you're here. Welcome back to the Computer America Show. We have uBreakiFix, aptly named, Mr. Justin Wetherill. He is the co-founder and president of uBreakiFix. And yeah, we're really getting into it. It's a great company that you can take any device to, anything with a power button, they claim, and have it repaired. And this can go for consoles, computers, and phones, and all that sort of thing. Do you also, and just as a quick aside, accidents always happen. People spill water, people drop things. That kind of thing is always very common. But do you have people coming in and let's say more traditional problems, or do you only work in hardware? Because hey, viruses happen, blue screens happen, hardware failures happen. Do you deal with the software side of things, or is this strictly the hardware side?
Absolutely, we deal on both sides. The hardware issues are more predominant, especially amongst smartphones. But in the laptop category, we do a lot of fresh OS installs, virus removal, those types of things.
Okay, so let me ask you this: someone comes in to want to repair something, and do people get embarrassed? About so, you look at this.
Like there's peanut butter in the charge port, and how to get it out? Like
I don't know how it got in there. I have no idea. I don't even like peanut butter. Do you get people this denial, or do people own up to what they've done to their device?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, working in a store, obviously did more of this earlier on, but it was always interesting when you asked what happened. Sometimes boyfriend and girlfriend come in and you're like, hey, what happened to the phone? They kind of just look at each other, and you don't dig any further. People throwing phones at each other or dropping them in the toilet is very common. Sometimes you don't want to know where the phone's been, to be honest.
That is one thing I've heard, where if you accidentally dropped it in the toilet, take it in, get it repaired, and say, I dropped in some water. You don't have to say toilet. That doesn't matter. Just
okay. The dog ate it. The dog ate it, or something. Exactly.
I mean, we fixed a phone very early on, back when we still worked out of my house, that was dropped in the deep fryer at McDonald's, and we were able to bring that one back to life, and
wow.
Had a very surprised and satisfied customer.
Wow.
Did the inside of it smell like a McDonald's French fry? Because that sounds like a nice repair job.
It was pretty gross, and we pretty much rebuilt the phone,
And they called it a Mac phone at that point. Okay. Yeah, exactly. So let me just ask you, what do you think the next big thing in the technology is going to be? I mean, I know you repair this stuff and everything, but I'm going to ask you to put on.
Please tell me it's waterproof phones.
All right, we have to explain that to you.
No, we don't explain that. We just know that waterproof phones exist, and for some reason, I don't have one.
Okay, you can infer from that what you will. All right, go ahead. Yeah.
I think the cool new technology is going to be technology, the HoloLens, and the technology that Magic Leap's creating. I think that's going to be the next big thing. And
of course, those things, like anything else, will break, and more stuff you have to learn to fix, right?
Yeah, I think that it could be debated whether cell phone repairs themselves, will be going on 10 years from now. But I think, kind of when we get to the core of what uBreakiFix is all about, and that's fixing kind of all kinds of technology. The debate that a local electronics repair shop and the need for that is going to continue to grow kind of can't be debated. What we'll be fixing could be debated. The fact that there will be an electronic that needs fixing, I think easily can't.
Is it going to get to the point where these things can't, I mean, they're assembled on such a small level that they can't be repaired anymore? I mean, do you think we'll get to the point where they're so thin?
I would think everything at some point has to be assembled at the macro level.
Yeah, I mean, does it get to the point where it's just too small or too tiny for a technician with a screwdriver? I mean, it's gonna reach a point where that they're just not repairable anymore. Do you foresee that?
I think that's possible in certain segments. It could be fixing drones, 5 years from now, or robots. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm confident that there's always going to be electronics to fix, and that the need for them to be fixed on a local level is going to do nothing but grow as they continue to play a larger role in our lives.
Well, you're going to have to be flexible. I mean, I remember the day, this is long before you, where when people were fixing their own TVs, you went to a tube would burn out. You go to the local supermarket, and they had these tube tester machines. You could put the tubes in, and you could test them, and you get a replacement tube.
And then you had to get inside your horse and buggy. You had to get the driver. And, yeah.
And that went away. I mean, look at Radio Shack. That was a steadfast a store. With
hey, they're still around.
Well, yeah,
they're owned by other people.
Well, but the point is, I mean, the face of the technology that we live in. I mean, look at Blockbuster. Blockbuster was huge, and then finally streaming and kind of made it go bye-bye. I mean, do you think? I mean, you're running the risk of that. Do you think the future is going to be promising? Are you going to have to adapt to the future? And so, obviously, to survive is not the case. I think all businesses that really have to do that.
Absolutely, complacency is a killer. I always make the analogy. It doesn't matter what you do. There's somebody always looking to put you out of business. I mean, what are the car insurance companies going to do when cars are all driving themselves and they don't crash? What are the stoplight companies going to do when the automated cars don't need to stop at red lights anymore? I mean, it doesn't matter what industry you're in. It's constantly being disrupted, and the takeaway simply is adapt or die.
Right, exactly.
And, we are very in tune with that philosophy, and have accepted as the unfortunate truth, and we're ready to adapt. And I think we've proved a couple times now that we've been able to do that. We started out as uBreakiFix, the iPhone 3G repair company, and then it expanded to Samsung devices, and then they expanded to tablets, and then computers, and now we're fixing a couple drones here and there. And as long as I think that we're very aware of the fact that these devices are going to change, and we're going to need to change with them. I think that there's a very exciting future for us.
And you have to remain optimistic. I remember, it used to be when you had a dealership, a car dealership, or a Cadillac dealership, you were set for life. And now these things are changing. I mean, look at they're selling.
And then Tesla came along.
Right. They're selling cars online. You can come in for a test drive, but you can't buy it. You have to do it online. I mean, things are constantly changing. Look at the cab industry. It used to be you had a medallion for your cab. You were set for life. Now you got Uber and everything. It just goes on and on. I can cite you countless examples, Justin. So,
it seems like he's prepared, though.
Yeah, it sounds like you just have to be prepared for this stuff, because it's this is just and not only is it changing more rapidly than it has ever before, too. I mean, we're just seeing these changes happen. It used to be it took several generations to see a change. Now we're seeing them happen within our generation. Well, listen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, listen, Justin, I wish you the best of luck with this, and I know you have one in our area, so it's nice to know that there is a place you can go.
Yes, and we've been poking around it, but I guess I'll just come out and say it now. I recently left my phone out in the rain. It was a rather hard rain, and it was on, so of course that does not work well.
And
we may be actually coming to visit one of your stores to come fix a sad, soggy phone.
I actually had a recording of Ben when that happened.
That's it.
Exactly. Listen, well, Justin, listen. Thanks so much. Thanks for being here with us on Computer America. Best of luck to you in your endeavor. And yeah, like I said, we'll probably be stopping by and see if we can get that fixed. And thank you.
Oh, great! I appreciate your time.
All right, Justin. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Take care. Have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
You as well. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, so there he goes again. uBreakiFix, and you can check it out. And if there's not one in your area, you heard that most of the stores now participate in the mail-in program, and they fix it within an hour, a couple of hours. They can get it fixed, not a day. Come on, you can probably have it back to you the next day.
Yeah.
Very cool. This things keep changing.
And again, this is the story of a company that started, as he was saying, he worked out of his house. I'm sure it was a 1-2 couple man operation.
Yep.
Now he's nationwide with 140 stores.
Right. I mean, he broke his own phone. He kept breaking it, and so he kept fixing it. And finally, someone's probably said to him, hey, you should start a business, and he did. And look what happened.
Lots of companies, lots of tech companies start out of people's basements. It's a way of life.
The entrepreneurial spirit continues on. All right. Well, I think we have time to do a few more news stories.
We do.
So Ben and I are going to continue doing computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities. the official optimization software of Computer America. And I want to do this one story here. This is from Popular Science. This is done by Lydia Chain. And it's entitled Embedded 3D Barcodes. Embedded 3D barcodes to ensure that pills are real. Evidently, a laser scan could test for counterfeit medication. If this process goes, it's a new kind of barcode that could be structurally built into a pill or other product that rather than just slapped on the packaging. Okay, so these researchers, which is from an anti-fraud technology company, developed a system to add microscopic indentations to the surface of a product. Tiny pins are set to different heights, each encoding a letter or a digit. And the pins can either be embedded in the mold of a product that's made from or stamped on afterwards. So the resulting code is almost invisible, too tiny to feel even, right? But a quick laser scan could detect the product's origin, which engineers say could track and verify products to combat fakes. And because there are so many fakes now, you think counterfeiting was just with designer handbags and dollar bills. It's not. I mean, it's everywhere. The annual global value of counterfeit goods has been projected to be more than, what do you think, Ben?
1.5 trillion.
That's a good guess, right? $1.5 trillion by the International Chamber of Commerce.
Man, I'm good.
Yeah, you are. Counterfeit electronics are also a problem, and counterfeit medication obviously can be downright dangerous, because it contains the wrong dose, or there's no active ingredient in it all in it. Why wouldn't you put the wrong dose? If you're going to counterfeit something, just don't put anything in it. Just make it look like a pill.
Well, that's equally as dangerous, especially if you're taking it for a very, like they say it's dangerous. So maybe they put in some, or the counterfeiters try to put in some active ingredient, because active ingredients, they can be cheap. They don't have to be expensive. So maybe they do put in active ingredients for people to purchase them continuously. I mean, if there's no ingredient, then you'll never purchase it again. Like it's a one-time counterfeit. But if you try doing it by yourself, you get people, repeat customers, blah, blah, blah. You actually, make more money. So, but hey, if it's not strictly regulated and the manufacturing isn't overseen, then, you get bad outcomes.
Well, the thing is, with counterfeit medication, I mean, even with generic drugs, you buy generic drugs, and they're at least they're tested. But
generic's not counterfeit. I just want to make that clear.
Yes, they're not. But usually after a drug company comes out and the patent wears off, I think it runs out. I think after 7 years, then generics can make their own with the same ingredients. But they're held liable by the FDA that monitors all this. But when you buy medication that's outside of the United States, you buy stuff
outside the FDA purview.
Yeah, in India, where you go. I mean, some of these things, they can be real, but again, they may not be. And it can be if you're dealing with your health, this could be very, very dangerous. A lot of people do it because the medications you buy overseas can be, by a quantum leap, be extremely inexpensive compared to what you pay for the actual product. And drug companies realize they only have a few years to market. And they spend a fortune in research development for these things, and then they advertise them. They only have a few years, and then that's it. Then it runs out, and then anybody can make it. So it's a highly competitive market. A lot of money to be made. But again, with counterfeiters, it could be very, very dangerous. So this kind of a code that they put on, of course, then the next thing is, counterfeiters are smart. They'll come out with their own little pins and everything. They'll try to make them same molds, and they'll put it on the thing, and then it'll become obsolete. And this is the story of all this. I mean, even with U.S. currency, look how our money has changed. Our money is almost pink now, and it's got all kinds of anti-counterfeiting the devices on here, because the counterfeiters, they have very sophisticated machines, and they're getting better and better and making counterfeits that are so good that they're undetectable, other than having a serial number. on it, and it's just extremely difficult to keep track of. And our money today is it's just totally different than what it was just a few years ago. And
I feel like we went off on a tangent.
Yeah, but the point is with this well, we like to discuss these things, and I'm saying that they can counterfeiters could eventually come up with their own codes that would mimic this. So this is a stopgap, but I don't think it's an answer. I think it's a step in the right direction, but I suspect that counterfeiters, after they find it, they'll find ways of getting around it, and then they'll come up with something else.
That doesn't mean you stop the arms race. You just keep escalating it.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. But what does that finally do? It makes the medication what? More expensive. The consumer is the one who loses on this one, because someone's got to pay for that.
Well, then pay for the counterfeit ones.
No, the counterfeit might not be.
Those must be cheap.
Yeah, but they might not be very effective either.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So
I think we just went in a big circle saying that counterfeiting is bad. I don't know. All right. So this next story, Craig, I'm guessing you didn't get a chance to look at that video.
No, I did not.
That stinks. We'll talk about it later. All right. How about Nintendo?
Well, I'm looking at this video. What is it I'm watching? You could tell me what it is.
StarCraft 2, but we'll talk about it later after you watch it. Anyways, Nintendo appoints Pokemon USA head as company president. Now, if you remember, Mr. Satoru Iwata, he passed away a couple weeks ago, and Nintendo just announced the new company president. And no, it's not Shigeru Miyamoto, who designed so many of the infamous Nintendo games and is the lead designer in many of them, or at least the lead storyboard designer. Instead, it is Tatsumi Kimishima.
Easy.
I believe I said that right. A name that's probably unfamiliar to most of the gaming populace. And until now, he's been a managing director at Nintendo. And he is he was overseeing the human resources division, but he joined the company back in 2000, and he's also been the chief financial officer of the Pokemon Company, as well as the president of Pokemon USA and president of Nintendo of America. So he has a lot of experience in the American market, but in very, very high circles as well. So, nothing to sneer at.
Mm-hmm.
They said that Kimishima takes the reins in a difficult period, with the Wii U struggling, the 3DS nearing the end of its life cycle, and Nintendo is about to dive into mobile gaming for the first time, which is something that they've been hesitant, but they've realized they have to do it. So, yeah, in addition, the company is working on its new NX console and a mysterious quality of life initiative. They said that the latter two projects were born under Iwata's watch, but it's gonna have to be Kimishima that will be taking the responsibility for their success, because he's gonna have to see them through to the end and see them sold to the general populace. They said that one of the head visionaries for Wii have been given roles as creative fellow and technology fellow, respectively. This is Miyamoto and Genyo Takeda. Both of them very, very famous in the gaming community as heads. So they are also helping guide him in this effort, because you don't want to jump into a position like the new president of Nintendo Worldwide without some help. And I believe these guys are going to be very, very vital to what he's doing over at the company. So even with their assistance, he was unquestionably huge shoes to fill. To true. Nintendo, they haven't been in the best place lately, but they have so much capital, so much IP, so much, stuff to do, that the president, as the main visionary, as the one who's going to set their goal going forward, he's going to have so much say in what happens to Nintendo. Because Nintendo, these Japanese companies in America, it's not uncommon for CEOs to jump ship after 3 to 5 years. They want new blood. They get a new CEO. They go to another company. They have a lot of sharing. Japanese companies, that doesn't happen. Mr. Iwata, who recently died, he was the president for like 25 years. they stick with their presidents until they retire or something else happens to them. So, so this gentleman will be the president for the foreseeable future, and he has a lot of stuff to do. Nintendo hasn't been moving as quickly as they probably should be.
But wasn't Iwata not? He was just not a figurehead. I mean, he was a programmer. He was a coder. He was able to do stuff. Some amazing stuff.
He rose from the mid-low levels of Nintendo, rose through the ranks to become its president, and arguably one of its best presidents. It's a very, very popular company because of him.
So is that going to happen with this guy?
Nintendo's already popular. But they're starting to lag. They're starting to trail. The Wii U had the console specs of the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 the year that the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 came out. I mean, it's behind in its life cycle. The Nintendo 3DS is about over. Like, they need to come out with a new product to start replacing it, and they just they just started in the mobile market. They have to start adapting, and it's going to be pretty much entirely on Kimishima to direct Nintendo where it needs to go.
Well, by the way,
that's a very hard thing to do.
Well, I just watched the StarCraft 2 Legacy video. It's coming out November the 10th. Very cool looking.
Yeah, for anyone who hasn't seen it, StarCraft has been a very, very popular thing. It's been around since like 1996, I want to say. And it's been like one of the most popular, if not the most popular, real-time strategy games worldwide. And just yesterday, with 1 million views in less than 24 hours, they have announced their release date for the Legacy of the Void, which will be the last in the trilogy of StarCraft 2. It will be focusing on Protoss. And yeah, it's they've announced it, as Craig said, November 10th. And it's the opening cinematic to the game. And if you've never seen a Blizzard cinematic for their video games, ever since their creation, and just Blizzard's cinematics are always stunning. Just visually, they're always top notch. And this one is one of the best.
What was that black hole or something that looked like it opened up in the back? Was that a portal to another realm or something?
If you've ever played StarCraft, the Protoss, they don't technically build. Like, if you ever play any of like the Hive, they kind of grow their buildings, and the Terran build their buildings. Whereas Protoss, they actually warp them in. Like, they actually kind of open a wormhole between wherever they want to put the building and the homeworld back where they are, and then they actually warp their buildings in. So you saw a pylon getting warped in.
Very cool. It looked like two people kind of morphed together before they.
Yes, those were High Templars, and they formed an Archon. Yeah. It was, and that whole power overwhelming line, beautiful. it really, if you've ever been a fan of StarCraft now or before, the whole thing is just so many references, so many great action sequences, and if you have never been a fan, the visuals are just stunning. So definitely go check that out.
I can see why you're looking forward to it. Again, coming out in November for that. Is that going to be for the computer or for Xbox? What's going to be?
Computer.
Okay.
Always the computer. Maybe for the Xbox One. I believe some version of StarCraft came out. I know Diablo came out. Blizzard has been looking into getting more into consoles, but computer for sure. Next-gen consoles probably.
All right. Especially with next-gen consoles like the Xbox One starting to morph together with Windows 10.
The problem is, like, as games become newer and newer, like when the next-gen consoles came out, they weren't exactly the highest specs. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't the fastest out there. You could get gaming computers that cost $800, and they had better hardware than the Xbox One. So as we move forward, we're 2 years into the life cycle of the Xbox One. As we move forward, they're going to have to do a lot of engineering to make these games kind of backwards compatible with these consoles, because these consoles are starting to show their age faster and faster.
Wow. It's going to be some exciting times, I think, here,
Maybe.
Yeah, could be. All right. Well, again, that wraps up the show. again, I want to thanks to all of you who are here. Again, thanks to Justin Wetherill from the co-founder and president of uBreakiFix, series of stores that fixes consumer electronic devices. Thanks to him for being here with us. Again, if you had a chance, you ought to check out their website at uBreakiFix.com. We have a link to the uBreakiFix.com website at computeramerica.com. And if you have something that's broken, something ran over your device, or you got water on it for whatever method, and you want to get it fixed, it might
90 seconds
behoove you to check that website out and see, because they have some great deals for products that are either in warranty or even out of warranty.
Right.
Coming up tomorrow, Intronus is going to be back with us. They were hit with us a while back. They're coming out. They're talking about unlimited cloud storage, the services that they offer, unlimited local storage with one fixed monthly price. Some of the things that they're
60 seconds
that they're offering. They have many different products, and they also have the Echo Share for Business. We're going to have them on the program for tomorrow afternoon. And also in the second hour, we'll have computer and technology news. More of the stories brought to you again by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. Thank you all so much for being with us here on this fine Monday afternoon. And Ben and I will see you tomorrow afternoon, same time, same station. So until tomorrow afternoon, this is Craig Crossman, hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon.
Good night, everyone. Good day, everyone. No, good night.
seconds.
Good night, good night, good night.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, again, thanks for watching us on our live streaming video, and we'll see you here tomorrow. Have a great afternoon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.